20 years ago, Toyota broke the auto industry with the introduction of the all-new Prius. You got an all-new hybrid system, 45 miles to the gallon, 15 bucks fills the tank, and you're on your way for the next 500 miles. But what do you do next? Hybrids are yesterday's technology. Plug-in hybrids still have an internal combustion engine. Battery electric vehicles still take around 30 minutes to charge. But you got to stay competitive. Tesla's got the Model 3, Chevy's got the Bolt, Nissan's got the Leaf, and God forbid in their minds, you got the Honda Clarity fuel cell. To quote James May, he said, "You don't know what's around the corner, because if we did, we'd already be there." And that certainly holds true. No one knows what the future holds, but Toyota thinks the Mirai is the answer. In fact, in Japanese, Mirai means the future. So let's see if they're actually serious. If hydrogen fuel cell will overtake battery electric vehicles, or is battery electric the future? Starting off with the exterior, we've got these three big air vents. These are all functional and they all lead oxygen into the fuel cell system. Now, some people may think the car looks a little ugly, and I can definitely see why, but I actually quite like the design. I like the white and black contrast, especially on these lighter color vehicles. As you see, the car also qualifies for Hov stickers here in California, and you've got 4 LED headlights on each side, 2 of them being your low beams and the other 2 being the high beams. You've got your turn signals and daytime running lights built into the side of the bumper, right next to the air intakes. And right behind this Toyota logo right here is actually a radar sensor for adaptive cruise control. You've got a nice character line on the fender right here, and that continues on onto the door. You also have this nice black stripe right here that adds a little bit of contrast, which is pretty nice. You got power folding mirrors, so every time you lock the car, the mirrors will fold, and you also have more of that black accenting right here. You've got a black A-pillar as well as a black roof, and in this case, the previous owner plasti-dipped the top portion of this roof on this side, or else it would be body colored. So it would have been a white little railing right there. You got your fuel cell badge, and the car is riding on 17-inch aluminum alloy wheels. So let's go ahead and take a look at the back of the car. On the rear end of the vehicle, your C-pillars are blacked out, and there is a little window right here, so that improves visibility within the cabin. You've got these separated tail lights. You've got a section on the top as well as the section on the bottom. This is your main tail light, so this lights up at night, and inside there is your turn signal. The top portion is your brake light, and these 2 segments on either side of the Toyota badge are your reverse lights. You also have LED license plate bulbs, as well as rear parking sensors. Your trunk release is located right below the right reverse lamp, so just press that button right there, and the trunk opens right up. The Mirai by no means has a large trunk. It only has 12.7 cubic feet, whereas the average midsize sedan has anywhere between 15 and 16 cubic feet. Most of this reason is because there is the hydrogen tank located near here, and you'll see a little curve right here. That's where the hydrogen tank is, as well as your hybrid battery pack. But you could fit about 3 or 4 medium-sized suitcases in here. But it's probably not the best vehicle to take to the airport if you're picking a couple people up. Coming to the interior of the Mirai, it's very nice. It's almost Lexus quality, if you will. It's got a nice leather-wrapped steering wheel. It's got a heated steering wheel as well. All 4 seats in the vehicle are also heated. You've got nice soft touch materials everywhere that it matters: dashboard, door panels, armrests, stuff like that. And it does have hard touch plastics below eye level, so it's not that bad. Here's the interior of the Mirai. It's very similar to the Prius with all its intersecting lines and the little display in the middle. So of course that's your speedometer, and that's your multi-information display about how your energy is being used and how much better you can accelerate. You can also control some vehicle settings with that. Pretty nice. You got a compass too. You got your gear position, a clock, and then all your warning lights right there. You've got Toyota's Entune System. This is one of the older ones. It doesn't support Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, anything like that. I don't think the new one does either. But it's alright. It can do Bluetooth audio, which is what most people care about. You got a nice JBL sound system as well. It is pretty bass heavy in my experience. Coming down, you got a Prius-like shifter. Put your foot on the brake, and then slide it up for reverse, slide it to the side and hold for neutral, and down for drive. And if you push it down, that's your engine braking mode. So if you're going downhill or something, you can go ahead and charge the battery while you're at it. You also got your eco mode and power mode, as well as traction control off, recirculation. This is your climate control settings. So to turn it on, just press auto. And I'm gonna put the fan low so you don't hear anything. And there's a little digital slider right here, so you can slide up and down what temperature you want. You got your front defroster and your rear defroster, along with your side mirrors too. You got your heated seat controls for either side, heated steering wheel, as well as heated windshield wipers. So if you're in a chilly area where ice buildup is normal, you can go ahead and use that in the mornings. It'll melt the ice right off the windshield wipers. Coming down, you do have two little cup holders here, and you can go ahead and close that up. Coming to the center console, it is leather wrapped and it is padded. Inside, there's a Qi wireless charger, and you'll also find an aux port and a USB port under this little door right here. My only complaint with this Qi wireless charger is that it's really small. So as you see, it's notched out, and that's about the size of an iPhone 10. I have my case right there, and it just barely fits. So as you see, it kind of like clips in almost. And that pretty much leaves no room for bigger phones. So if you have an iPhone 7, well, I don't have an iPhone 8, but iPhone 7 does not support wireless charging, but it is the same size as the iPhone 8. So yeah, that fits perfectly in there. But if you do have an iPhone 11, you'll notice that it doesn't fit. Although it does charge, the distance between the phone itself and the pad is pretty close. So the phone still charges, but it doesn't fit into the little tray. And if you have an iPhone 8 Plus or something in the size of an iPhone like XS Max or 11 Pro Max, your phone's straight up not going to fit in there. I'm not sure whether it's going to charge or not, but I wish Toyota would have made that slot a little bit bigger. Coming to the glove box, it is lockable. You got your owner's manual in there, and it is felt lined, so that's pretty nice. Here's your steering wheel, leather wrapped, volume controls, music controls, you can change the mode, trip computer reset, Bluetooth, pickup, decline buttons, your voice command button. Over here, it's the little jog wheel for controlling that display up right there. You got the back button for that. You got your turning on and off lane keep assist, as well as your, I think this is the front collision warning. And you got your cruise control stock right down there. Windshield wipers, turn signals and headlights are right there. And on the side right here, you got your automatic high beam controls, panel dim, and this is the H2O button. So for example, if you're done driving, you're gonna pull into your garage, when you turn off the car, all the water that's been accumulated in the fuel cell will be drained out. So instead of that happening inside your garage, when you pull up to your driveway, you can just press the button and it'll empty the system in the car before you get into your garage. And down here you have your fuel door release as well as your trunk release, power door locks, power mirrors, and power windows, of course. Coming to the back seat, I have plenty of leg room, plenty of foot room as well. You've got little magazine pockets right there. You've got nice soft touch materials up on top, soft touch materials on the bottom, as well as a nice padded armrest down here. Of course, you have power windows and power door locks back here as well. You've got AC controls, and right here you will find a 12-volt outlet. On 2018 and up Mirais, you will find a USB port over there as well, right next to the 12-volt outlet. Your heated seat controls for the back seat. You've got high and low. You've got a nice center console right here. It is pretty deep. It makes up for the fact that there's no storage in the front center console. Under the hood, you'll find the power distribution unit that connects with the fuel cell. The car does share a lot of its hybrid synergy drive components with other Toyota models, such as the electric drive motor from the RX 450h and the battery pack from the Camry Hybrid. This is all to reduce cost and increase reliability, since both of those cars have been on the market for nearly 15 years, and they've proven to be great vehicles. Now notice I said this car has the battery out of the Camry Hybrid. Now that's because the Mirai is also a hybrid, not a gas-electric hybrid in the traditional sense, but rather an electric-electric hybrid, since it has two sources of electricity. The battery is charged through regenerative braking, and if the level is too low, the fuel cell charges it up. The battery is able to provide power to the electric motor under its low city speeds and when you're stuck in, say, bumper-to-bumper traffic. In those scenarios, the car tries to preserve the precious hydrogen and runs on battery power alone. Under hard acceleration, the fuel cell and battery work together in harmony to get the car up to speed. Now, the battery is only 1.6 kilowatt hours, so you're not going to get any meaningful range out of it, but it is basically there to be a little boost, and a boost of energy if you need it, and a little storage mechanism as well. So how does the car actually work? It's actually easier said than done, but air comes in through the front of the vehicle, through the air intakes, and goes to the fuel cell. Hydrogen from the tank also comes to the fuel cell, and when hydrogen and oxygen meet in the fuel cell, they combine and make electricity. That electricity is sent to the electric motor, which is then used to propel the wheels. And a byproduct of oxygen and hydrogen mixing is, of course, water, and that's what comes out of the tailpipe. Now, you can actually drink the water, although it isn't recommended, since it tastes a little funny and could be dirty. So let's go ahead and take the car out for a spin now. Stepping into the Mirai, it feels very secure. The car is 4,100 pounds and you definitely feel the heft of the vehicle. This isn't that old Corolla you used to drive. The Mirai has very light steering. You can even turn it with one finger if you'd like to. And the steering wheel doesn't give you that much road feel or anything, but it is very easy to drive and park. So some people may like that, but the Mirai certainly isn't a driver's vehicle in any sense. The suspension is very soft. It feels like you're driving on a cloud. It soaks up bumps very well and you don't even feel them. Cabin noise, it's very quiet. It's got acoustic glass all the way around, just like a Lexus vehicle. And the fuel cell and electric motors don't really make that much noise under light acceleration. Maybe they do sound a little loud when merging onto the freeway and under a hard acceleration, but it's still much quieter than any other internal combustion engine would be under hard acceleration. Braking is also a very good point in this vehicle. It is a very heavy car, like I said, 4,100 pounds. The car is very secure feeling and it brakes just as well as any other car would. But since it is an electric vehicle, it does have regenerative braking. So the brake pedal feel, it does take getting some used to. It feels like you're stepping on a memory foam pillow. And you also have to be very light on the throttle or else the car does pick up very well. And it doesn't push you into the seat like a Tesla would. It does push you into your seat a little bit. And the fuel cell stack and one of the hydrogen tanks is located down low, and it does give the vehicle a nice center of gravity. So in a way it is fun to drive. Handling in the car is excellent. Thanks to the light steering, it does make it very easy to drive. And the seats are bolstered just enough, but not all that well. There is a little bit of body roll now and then. Alrighty, let's go ahead and merge onto the highway right here. Okay, looks like it got meter on. Okay. And we're up to 60 right when we merge. Car's got excellent acceleration. You never feel unsafe in the vehicle. And the car feels very solid, like I said, and that's what most people care about. It's not lightweight. It doesn't shake in the wind like any other lightweight car does. This is a very high-quality Toyota vehicle. Now, the Toyota Mirai's main competitor is, of course, going to be the hydrogen Honda Clarity. The Honda Clarity does have a little bit more range. It's rated at 366. And the Mirai is only rated at 312. But realistically speaking, the Mirai can only go up to 250 miles in real-world conditions. And I'm sure the Clarity, I haven't driven the Clarity, but I'm pretty sure even conservatively, that car might get 320 miles, which is still excellent. It's still much better than this car. And you, of course, have the Hyundai Nexo. Now, that's also a fuel cell vehicle, but that's a SUV slash crossover type of vehicle. The Mirai and Clarity are both sedans, of course. So you do get more cargo space in the Nexo than you do with the Clarity or the Mirai. One of the main things about the Toyota Mirai is you're able to purchase the vehicle. You can also purchase the Hyundai Nexo, but the Honda Clarity is only available for lease. So let's go ahead and talk about pricing. So there's a few different ways you can get yourself into a Mirai. So on Toyota's website, the car is listed for sale at $58,550. And of course, there's a few ways you can pay that. So the first option is, of course, going to be leasing. So you can lease a 2019 model for $340 or a 2020 model for $390. And both of these are for 36 months with a 12,000 mile annual limit. And you're going to have to give $2,500 down. And of course, this qualifies for the $4,500 California tax rebate as well as a Hov sticker. And you can get both depending on your income. And the second option is, of course, financing the car. So it's 1.9% APR for 72 months, and Toyota has an additional $7,500 Trailblazer incentive. And both of these also qualify for the 3-year, 15,000-mile fuel card that Toyota provides you, since hydrogen fuel is expensive. But there is a third option. Toyota currently also has the 3-year, $15,000 fuel card available for their Toyota certified used vehicles. So the used Mirais also come with the $15,000 fuel card, and you also get 0% APR for 72 months. That's a better deal than what they even offer on a brand new Mirai. You're only able to get 1.9%. So you can go to cars.com, Car Gurus, your favorite search engine for, used cars and whatnot. So go ahead and search for Toyota Mirai, and you'll find a list of so many Toyota Mirais, and they're all within like $12,000 to $15,000. They take a huge hit in depreciation, and this is the smartest way to buy a car. Like, look at this one. This is only $10,995. It's only got 50,000 miles too. And if your negotiation game's on point, I'm pretty sure you can even lower the price another $1,000 or $2,000 off of this. Now you may be asking yourself, how does a $60,000 car fall to 12 to 13 grand within a span of 3 to 4 years? Well, there's no right or wrong answer. I think that the cars are depreciating at this rate because, one, there are not many hydrogen stations in the state, let alone the entire country. And two, these cars haven't been on the road for a while. These cars have only been, sold for the last 3 or 4 years, and no one knows how long these cars can last. No one knows if they can, run for 100,000, 200,000 miles. So these factors come into play with the car's residual value. So I think the cars depreciate as fast as they do because the hydrogen technology is nowhere near its maturity yet. So if you go ahead and look at the California Fuel Cell Partnership, it's a really good website where it outlines all the stations that are in the state. So if you go ahead and click on the map, as you see, there are a few clusters of stations. So you have a lot in the San Francisco Bay Area. There's a couple in Sacramento, and you have a lot in LA. Now there is one station here in Harris Ranch on I-5, so that enables people from the Bay Area or people from Sacramento from driving to LA and vice versa. So you can go ahead and click on a station here. So for example, this one is in Saratoga, and these stations are offline. So you have to check this website before you go ahead and fill up the car because half the time these stations aren't even online or they don't have fuel. So let's go ahead and see this one. This one's in Campbell. Look, this one is online, but the inventory is running low. So they only have 34 kilograms of hydrogen right now. And the Mirai takes 5, and so does the Clarity and Nexo. They all have the same tank capacity. So if you check this one in Palo Alto, it's only got 45 kgs, but this website is really good because it'll let you know the station will be offline on Thursday, August 13th for routine maintenance. So people in Palo Alto have to go to either Redwood City or Mountain View just to go fill up their car in case they're running low. Now, with stations being offline and sometimes not having enough fuel, it is a risk that people are taking, and some people are not ready to take that risk when they buy this car. Now, when a station is offline or doesn't have enough fuel, it is a risk when you buy this car. You might not be able to drive it all the time because the station next to you doesn't have fuel or it's offline. Now, this is where an electric car, a battery electric car, starts to make sense, because you can just come home every night and plug it in and you're charging. And if you're not at home, there's thousands and thousands of charging stations all over the country. And about the charging stations, you don't have to worry if they're online or offline. Most of them, 95% of the time, they are working. If you have a home charger, you don't need to worry at all, because you can just come home at night, plug your car in, and you're good to go in the morning. So this is a risk that not everyone is willing to take with a hydrogen car, because say, for example, it happens at the worst time. You're going all the way from, the Bay Area to, say, LA, and the Harris Ranch station is offline. You're pretty much screwed at that point, because you can't get a jerry can of hydrogen or anything and fill up the car. You gotta call roadside assistance and get the car towed, stuff like that. And if you're stranded there, that's pretty much it. There's not much you can do. So that is a big risk with this car, or any other hydrogen car for that matter. Now, I've been going through these stations. You may have noticed that most of them say renewable hydrogen is 33%. Now, that's because of a state mandate that 1/3 of hydrogen that goes to fuel cars must come from renewable resources. Now, that 33% usually comes from electrolysis, so that's when electricity is used to split water, and that hydrogen is then harvested and then used to fuel the car, which is then in turn used to make electricity in the fuel cell stack again. And that whole process is very energy intensive. It takes a lot of energy to split water, and you're using electricity to split water, which is making hydrogen, which will then be converted into electricity again. And in that entire process, that process is only about 30 or 40% efficient. Whereas with the battery electric car, you're using the electricity from the grid, charging the battery, and you're off you go. And that process is like 90-95% efficient. So hydrogen cars are not the most efficient when it comes to generating electricity. And that's where the whole argument comes from, that battery electric cars are more efficient than hydrogen cars. And the 2/3 of this hydrogen usually comes from oil refining. So hydrogen is a byproduct of refining oil, which is used to make gasoline and other stuff. And that's why oil companies are supporting hydrogen cars, because they also make money off of this. Most of these hydrogen stations are located within gas stations. So as you see, the one in Fremont is located in a Valero station. The one in Palo Alto is located within a Shell station. So all these oil companies are supporting hydrogen because they make money off of it. And the hydrogen that's produced comes from their refineries. Now, there are a few places where you can get 100% renewable hydrogen, such as this Shell station in San Francisco, where all of the hydrogen is renewable. So not every station is like this. You may want to, pay attention for that. I think 2 of the stations in Sacramento are also renewable. Yeah, so this one in West Sacramento is also only 1/3 renewable. So is hydrogen the future of automotive transportation? Well, I think it's still too early to say, since the infrastructure of hydrogen stations is nowhere near its maturity. Toyota has shown that they are still deeply invested into the hydrogen game with their upcoming launch of the second generation 2021 Mirai, which looks great. Currently, I think it's an overstatement to say that hydrogen will overtake battery electric vehicles, since charging stations can be found anywhere, but I do think that in the future, fuel cell vehicles and battery electric vehicles will coexist, similar to how gasoline and EVs coexist now. However, I think the Mirai is an excellent commuter car, and the car is worth buying to get a taste of hydrogen fuel cell cars. Combined with its used car pricing and fuel card, it's a very attractive deal. You also have to make sure the car makes sense for you and your commute, and see if there are any hydrogen stations near where you live or work. So as long as you live in California or Oahu, the car is certainly worth taking a look at, and go for a test drive to see it for yourself.